Hey guys, what's up?
Hey. What's happening?
Good to see you.
A lot of happening before Christmas, right?
Right after Thanksgiving, before Christmas.
It's the crazy time of the year, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this kind of wild, still developing story of this guy who assassinates the CEO of a major healthcare organization last week in New York City. You guys hear about this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Who didn't hear about it?
Who didn't hear about it, right?
Yeah.
It kind of like briefly captivated the nation almost, right?
Absolutely.
It was a massive like deal, and you know, it's bizarre. Okay? So it happens for us here on the West Coast early morning, right? Or at least I feel like we hear about it early morning, and you hear the story about this guy being assassinated, and you don't really think too much of it. And then, like, all of a sudden, stuff just starts coming out because the shooter just flat out disappears. And nobody knew who he was, where he came from, or what, you know, his motivation for this was. Right?
I mean, it was a flat-out assassination.
Agreed.
It could, if you look at the initial video footage, it looks like an assassination plot from a movie. Someone has a covered face comes out with a gun, with a silencer, waits for an individual, as soon as they're, inside, just takes them out.
Yeah, I mean, so then you got these videos that came out. So originally there was like nothing. And then there was like some mild clips of like random, security cameras in the streets that saw him maybe on a scooter or walking into a subway or something like this. And they think he disappeared into Central Park, and then from there was lost. And then these other videos come out that actually show the assassination.
But it's not random someone's, right? So the victim is the CEO of a major health insurance company, and the assassin, who was unknown for a long time, is an Ivy grad student from a well-to-do family that took it upon after a massive manhunt. The man was hunted. After massive manhunt, I can't say that. And there was some help from citizens because he had his face covered. He took a bike. He was very well planned out, apparently.
Very well planned out.
But good Samaritans, people who saw the police postings and requests, managed to identify him, and he was traced to McDonald's.
The McDonald's in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, and he was caught and arrested, and this is now turned into something more bizarre. That's how we know. Before, it was an identified individual.
But when I first saw it...
Yeah, my initial reaction, I was surprised by the general public. They were taking the shooter's side after certain information came out. Number one, he's shooting the CEO of a health insurance company that made over, I think, $218 billion last year, some astronomical number.
Crazy.
And the bullets, the casings, were inscribed with deny, delay, and depose, or something like that, or defend, kind of like what insurance companies are known for doing.
What plaintiff's attorneys say usually insurance companies do in various liability cases.
And so that's the bigger question. It's like he then became a representation of America's frustration with insurance companies. And why are they frustrated? Because everyone pays for health insurance, for car insurance, for work comp insurance. And when people want their insurance to pay some claims, especially health claims, most of the time they're denied. And you're powerless. And when you need a medical procedure and it's denied, what do you do?
Well, what struck me as just so fascinating in this situation was the way that the story sort of changed as things were, drug up by the media or released by the police. But for me, when I first saw this, my initial instinct was, this is a guy who's been wronged by the insurance company in some way. Maybe he had a close family member that needed some, drastic medical procedure or treatment and was denied, and the person died, and he's just exacting revenge.
Yes.
And then the story comes out about he's estranged from his wife in some weird fashion where they still live close in separate houses, and weird things are going on there. And then you think, okay, maybe it's a revenge killing in that respect, and you see the video, and he looks like a professional hitman clearing a a jammed gun and taking a stand, like a shooter stance,
Yeah.
and doing all this. You're like, whoa, what is this? And then the fact that he's like disappeared so effortlessly, and nobody knows where he is or anything about him.
Yeah.
And then he's just sitting in a McDonald's with all this crap in his backpack.
Yeah.
This is a success. He's a software engineer.
He was,
He's
yeah.
an Ivy League grad school.
Penn.
Very wealthy family.
But I think this is I was deeply disturbed by this for many, many reasons. I mean, the first one is obvious because someone murdered someone. And murder is not a substitute for expressing your opinion or protesting. We have freedom of speech in this country, and it's very valuable, but this is not the way to express an idea or a protest or even what so-called revolution. What bothered me more is there were dumb people on the internet sort of complimenting that.
Yeah, they're cheering him on.
But it's ridiculous. First of all, we have so many problems with the school shootings, and it's being mixed. The method of protesting, it's almost like justifying that this is the right method of protest. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not.
And,
But this is a tipping point. People are so frustrated. Look at our clients. When it's an admitted case, the doctor says they need a certain surgery. They're in pain. This will help alleviate the pain. And insurance goes, no. Right?
We get it. It hits home, right?
It
It's
hits
close.
home.
And this is the third reason why I'm so upset. Because it undermines the purpose. It's not
Sure.
effective. Because what we're talking about is a disgusting murderer who murdered a father, who has kids and a family, for absolutely no reason, in an unjustifiable way. That's all the people are talking about. They're not talking about health insurance denying benefits. It would have been much more effective if you maybe confronted him with a sign, if you wrote an article, but this doesn't. It's like terrorism. Are insurance companies denying benefits unjustifiably? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is this a topic that needs to be addressed?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's obviously, there's something off with him, and he's at his wit's end, and something snapped, or he felt there was no. I don't know. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but and I don't agree at all with the support he's received. But in some ways, I understand the position he might have felt he was in, right? Maybe not to take that action. But
And if you've been oppressed for so long, the only way to change things, like a David and Goliath, is by acting like
He's
this.
not been oppressed. He's a rich kid.
I disagree.
His
Because
oppression came of choosing Page jeans versus Hudson's.
that's not true. That's not true. This kid is 26. He could not be physically intimate with any girls. He had constant back pain because there was something wrong with
How do
the
you know that
procedure.
he wasn't physically? Yeah.
That's where the news reports came out. That's why he was so frustrated.
he had some friends that corroborated some of the stuff and some of his social media postings.
He tried. They tried to get these medical benefits. They were denied, and they don't want to correct the problem. And imagine if this rich kid is suffering this much. Imagine if they didn't come from means,
Yeah.
right? And if he
Yeah.
didn't go to University of Pennsylvania, how are those people getting
He
treated?
wasn't suffering from not getting medical benefits. I
He
mean, look, a
was.
lot of stuff that's being said, we actually don't know exactly.
We don't know, but
what's
that's
the
at
truth.
least his
But
side
let
is
me- his
saying.
family was in the business of like
They own a country
nursing
club.
homes.
No, a country club, I think.
Country clubs,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's some other. I'm
Yeah.
generalizing because I don't know all the facts. The facts are going to come out in his criminal trial, which he deserves the full extent of the persecution of the law because he's a murderer. He's not a vigilante. He's not a
Yeah.
person who speaks out about social issue. He's a murderer, and that's the only thing he should be known about because there is a real way to address it and help people. He hurt the cause that he was advocating, and he hurt the people and the families, his own and others. So it's a stupid. I cannot get over people on the internet supporting him because it encourages senseless murders. But to your point earlier,
The insurance company, it's corporate greed, right? Enough is enough with these insurance companies. They're making so much money. The purpose of an insurance company is you pay me in case you need me in an emergency. But what's happening every time I go to the doctor?
Not there.
What I think should be covered, a small percentage is covered, and I have to pay the balance.
there's not one person who wouldn't relate to what you said right now.
Yeah. Well, that's
Right.
why he's getting this sort of like
I'm so and then
support.
on the
right?
flip side, you see the amount of money these insurance companies are making, and it's not right either. Why aren't they forced to change?
Why do you think that a rational person would support what he did?
Because he probably did something that a lot of people have thought, but maybe either are too rational to act this out, or too scared, or don't have the means. They say the gun was made on a 3D printer, which is just mind-boggling to me, right? I'm going to go and check my children's 3D printer, but that's pretty impressive, right?
Untraceable, which has made it untraceable.
Well, yeah, because it didn't exist until he created it, right?
Right.
It's pretty amazing. But he had something going on that others didn't, right? And others may champion him. We talked about the term vigilante before this. It exists here, right? A vigilante is usually someone, street justice, takes matters into their own hands, rights a wrong that they feel is happening, whether this was because of him or he was standing up for other things or injustices across the board. I don't know.
You bring a good point.
Yeah.
Was even a vigilante. This guy wasn't a criminal. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't do anything. He just killed a civilian.
But it's subjective.
Was he in the process of committing a crime that he attacked him and killed him?
But vigilantism, there's levels, right? You can't put every vigilante into the same box, right? Some are a little bit more sane than others. Some are a little bit more justified than others. I'm assuming, we don't know, what this guy saw was, you run this operation, and this operation has repeatedly screwed me over, and that's it. You're at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. Does that justify him being shot in the back of the head? Absolutely not. But I'm imagining this is where this guy's...
an execution style from the front too.
And that's what the CEO represented.
Yeah.
You're the head of this company that is denying 26 million people benefits. And you're actually at a meeting to talk about how much money you just made last quarter.
Okay, so if you're CEO of Sony PlayStation and they have some violent games and some kids are acting out and doing something that hurt them, so some should go and shoot the CEO of Sony?
No,
absolutely not.
No,
it's ridiculous.
No.
But
I agree.
You know what? I'm going to make a weird analogy that I think is funny. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. Okay, he doesn't get the Christmas bonus, and then the brother-in-law kidnaps the boss and brings him there, and he just sees it as a cost-cutting move. But he doesn't see the trickle-down effect that it has all the way down to the lower employees and their families and what they don't get. That's just not what he thought of.
And what did Chevy Chase do?
Well, they kidnapped him.
Okay, so that was a bad one.
But no, that was the brother. But it wasn't until that happened that the guy himself sees, wow, I didn't realize this one action I take has this kind of butterfly effect on down the line. And so maybe this guy, as the CEO, has taken actions across the company, instilled new policies or new procedures that as they trickle down to the people at the bottom that really need the help the most, they're really getting screwed. I don't know. We don't know enough about what this guy's deal was.
Well, let me bring up another issue. A manifesto.
Yeah.
This arguably wasn't his last victim.
He had others.
He got, thank God that he was stopped. But based on what he was writing, I don't think this was the last person he was intending to execute.
Well, first off, I hope if we're calling it a manifesto, it was supposed to be more than 3 pages long, because
very short.
Makes you wonder what they thought that you penned. Yeah.
Right? Come on. 3 pages is not a manifesto.
No, it's
But
what if this sparks a change in the insurance industry? What if now all the big insurance companies go, guys, hold up, maybe we should start admitting some of these and paying some of these claims.
He will not change. He will get worse, because now they got to get a security guard for every CEO that's walking around there.
This is something
it's going to be more
interesting.
expensive.
This is something interesting, and one of my initial thoughts was, I don't care who you are. If you're worth that kind of money, the hell are you walking around a major city by yourself to a place that people know you are going to? You can't imagine you're wildly popular. You're not Walt Disney, right? Like, you're somebody who potentially has enemies out there. Maybe not in the mafia sense, but like, you're walking on the street in Manhattan in a major city by yourself, and you're worth what? A couple $100 million, $1 billion? I don't know what this guy's worth.
Most people walk by themselves without security.
And he's going to a place where they knew he was going to be because it was a shareholder meeting or something of this nature.
But CEOs tend to have some kind of
hire somebody.
They have a driver, maybe someone who works at home, but they're not a celebrity. I could see a celebrity because they're instantly recognizable may walk
Yeah.
with security,
But
but
still.
there's many wealthy people in New York who are worth a lot of money who don't walk around with security. He's not instantly recognized. This guy researched him. He hunted
He was
him down.
going somewhere where he knew this guy.
No, I know,
This guy
but
knew he would be there.
If
Right?
you walked by the street, you would never know who he was.
No,
The
you-
guy
well,
researched him. He
yeah.
hunted him down. He traced him. He
He-
planned it out. By the way, stands to, the question would be, I don't know, I can't remember if New York has a capital.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is premeditated murder. This,
It's funny they charged him murder too. I think they charged him not premeditated, which I thought was interesting because he lied in wait. Right, he was waiting. He planned
Yes,
it out.
he
Yeah, no,
waited
it was interesting. I
for a
thought
while.
if
Planned it out
anything, this
really
would be
well.
murder one. This
Yeah.
is it. Right. This
Yeah.
is this is the
yeah.
you're the top dog here.
I mean, and then look how it compares. For example, there was another recent incident, a criminal trial where the jury just came back, the case of Daniel Penny, who also was labeled a vigilante. This was the incident where there was a homeless guy, clearly with
the
mental
subway.
issues, on the subway, who was going berserk, was scaring people. I guess was like, they were afraid they're going to get attacked or assaulted, and when, some of the passengers were, some women were screaming, and then we had this guy Daniel Penny, who was a Marine vet, who intervened and grabbed the guy and put him in a chokehold because there's no one could subdue this guy, right? It's a subway, a small car, it's moving. Put him in a chokehold.
Then he died. Right. Yeah.
The vet had no intention of killing him. He had intention of subduing him. The act of putting him in a chokehold ended up killing him. I guess as soon as the police came, he let him go. It doesn't look like he was deceased at that time, but he died soon
died.
after.
The subway person could also be vigilante, right? I know you're intending to stop someone who seems to be harming others, but then why'd you kill him? Right?
Yeah.
That's on
Well, he
you.
didn't intend to kill him. It was clear he was.
Oh,
Even the
hey.
prosecutors, there wasn't an intention to kill. It was a reckless.
Fine, but
It's a
there's
lesser-
still levels to
it's
it.
a lesser
like,
charge,
Like you're
yeah.
not a police officer. You were in the Marines. This is not a war. You're not a Marine right now in the subway. So it's like he went too far.
Well, let me
that's the
ask you.
argument.
You're in a closed moving subway in New York. There's a guy going insane, assaulting everyone in the cab. Your wife and kids are there, and he's coming out to your wife. Wouldn't you want someone like this at least to restrain it, since clearly there's no security,
Oh, I
there's
agree.
no police?
I agree.
I mean, when should he intervene? When he's actually stabbing the person?
Well, no, he should intervene, but he should also know when to not kill him.
Well,
Right.
he had no intention of killing him, right? He was subduing him until law enforcement.
But
comes.
as soon as you put yourself in that situation, you have a responsibility. You're also a Marine, so you should know how much pressure to put or not put. So that's where the lines. I see what you're saying. Obviously, I want others to protect me, and I'll try to protect others.
Well, 12 jurors in New York didn't think so.
These are different situations, right?
Right.
Because this guy on the subway was standing up against somebody who was acting out
For
who was
others.
attempting to protect.
Attempting, right?
Luigi Mangione is the guy we're talking about today, who kills the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He just showed up and shot this guy without provocation in the moment, right? Thompson guy was not antagonizing anyone around him.
Uh-uh.
He was not threatening anyone. He
Right.
was not, nobody was in fear of imminent harm from this guy. And Luigi Mangione shows up and assassinates him. So very different, right?
But the people who are
Yeah.
praising him, Luigi Mangione, the guy
Yeah.
who killed the CEO, the healthcare CEO, are basically, you'd say they're analogizing it. Well, listen, this guy was responsible for denying medical care and killing others, so they view Luigi Mangione as some kind of pop culture hero, that he
Yeah.
took out this big bad capitalist
That's
who's denying money and killing people.
He may be, but he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be acquitted. Right? Like, I think
Yeah.
Luigi Mangione is going to get sentenced. He's going to get convicted and sentenced to something. It may not be the full, top murder charge, but there's a difference here. And I think, look, this is why we have the jury system, right? So you said 12 jurors acquitted Daniel Penny from the subway incident, and maybe that's rightfully so. And it was clearly evident. And look, we have a district attorney. We have a district attorney here who is just voted out in California or in Los Angeles, and in New York City they have somebody very similar, and people in that city have similar complaints that not enough people are being criminals are being prosecuted, and so maybe there's pressure there. We have to charge all of these guys, so they charge this Penny guy. The legal system says, nope, we're not buying it, and he goes free. But at least they did what they were supposed to do. I don't know, we'll see. But I think Mangione, I think he's in a considerable different position than Daniel Penny.
I think some of the people who were upset by the prosecution of Daniel Penny is because he actually actively came to the defense of others when no one else was, and because he was a Marine, he felt he was strong enough to always. He didn't attack. He didn't beat this guy up. He basically disabled him into law enforcement. Right? I mean, and where's the responsibility of the city?
Yep.
How were these people in the subway where we're supposed to be attacked and then so sorry after? That's not acceptable. So, I mean, is it a failure of the city to provide some sort of security or put cameras when you see someone's going crazy to stop the subway and get law enforcement in there?
Yeah, here in Los Angeles, we had such a huge problem with that now they're going to have their own police force just for the subway.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
And New York is so much more expensive.
They have Metro Police. They have Metro Police for sure. But, look, there's hundreds of subway stations in just Manhattan alone.
Right. It's
you couldn't possibly have... Look, we were just in New York, and I would say in maybe 10% of the subway stations we went into, we saw police. They move around. It's, roving patrol just like you would have cars on the street. They can't be in every station.
Right.
They move around. Their presence is there. You know it. We felt completely safe in the subway. There's a few, off people, but nothing to this level. And I think these are still few and far between. But if something like that were to happen, I don't disagree with you.
I think the message, this is the wrong way to bring the protest. To me, he's just a murderer. I think some of his actions from a legal perspective, haven't heard anything yet about bringing in a defense of mental incapacity. This guy's clearly highly functional, intellectual, very capable, and did a lot of work planning it, so I think it will negate mental incapacity. But
look, this is what we're going to have the trial for. We're going to be interested to see what happens, and let's see what comes out and what sticks, right? And maybe we'll do a part 2 on Luigi Mangione.
See what he gets charged with and what the defenses are.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, good.
It's been fun.
All right, guys.
I appreciate
back to work.
Back to work.
Yeah. Holidays.
Yeah.
Shopping. You guys got all your Christmas shopping done?
Not yet.
No?
Every month is the holiday for sure.
Every month is a holiday, right? Wait, you see this year, certain companies started having their Black Friday sales like earlier. Yeah. I noticed Aloe
did.
had a whole 30% off the week before Black Friday.
Yeah, but this is for next year's Black Friday.
Crazy. But I just thought that was it's almost like
cool.
They're going to have it.
Right.
And maybe if there's competitors, you get your 30% earlier. Everybody's like, screw it, I'm just going to stock up on Aloe and I'm not buying any Lululemon or Vori, right?
Right.
I thought it was interesting.
That's where my money goes, yeah.
But that was the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. All right, guys.
Happy shopping. Happy holidays.
Happy shopping, yeah.